Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Today we're going to delve into some dating advice and we're going to be talking about rejection. It's an important thing to have a handle on if you're out there in the dating world. And I think there are some really good tools for learning how to approach rejection, how to look at it, and get a more realistic feel for what's going on when somebody says they don't want to be with you. So let's get to that. If you are new here, I did want to welcome you to my channel. I have this channel that I have created for women in their 50s. You don't have to be single, but if you are, I am a matchmaker and a dating coach here in the Chicago area. So I like to offer up some of the dating advice that I give to my own clients to you too, in case you can make good use of it. I hope you will subscribe to my channel, hit the ring bell so that you're notified when I upload new videos. And let's talk a little bit about rejection. When I first get started with a new client, we have what I call a welcome meeting. And it's a pretty in-depth interview trying to get to know them and what they're looking for. Try to get down a lot of details as to what I'll be searching for and where we need to grow and maybe move outside what they have been looking for so far. And one of the questions I ask is whether they have to deal or contend with any rejection in the workplace. Because then I would like to ask, if they do, how they deal with that. Is that something that's really difficult for them, or is it something that rolls easily off their back? And some people don't have any at all, depending on what type of a position. People obviously in sales deal with rejection all the time, hopefully more yeses than nos. But when you look at dating, and especially a first date, which is where I start the process, where I come in, is introducing somebody to someone new for the very first time. And I explain, and I am explaining to you, that there are 4 different ways a date can go. It's either going to be where both people want to see each other again, in which case both people say, yes, let's do this again. That was a great match. And I call that a yes match. And then there's the date that doesn't go so well. Something goes awry. Either there's no chemistry or somebody picks up on something that got by me. Somebody acts differently with the person that I've matched them with than they did when they were both talking to me. When I remove myself as that middleman, and that would be both people saying, I don't want to see him, her again, in which case that's a no match. And then there's the date where my client says to me, I see exactly why you matched us. It was a good match on paper, but there was something there that just didn't click for me, or I learned something about them that is probably not going to fly with my family, or he reminds me of my sister's husband, something like that, which we have no control over, but just isn't going to allow that relationship to move forward. So my client says no, but perhaps the person I introduced her to says she was fantastic, everything that you said she would be, and I would love to see her again. And I have to let him down gently and say, I'm really glad you had a nice evening, but unfortunately she does not want to see you again, and I'm pretty gentle about the whole thing. But the least favorite of mine, as far as feedback, is the match where the client says, you know me so well. He was just everything I've asked you for. I had a great time. Conversation flowed so smoothly. I'm really excited. I'd love to see him again. And I have to break the news that he was not interested for whatever reason. And in that situation, that is a no-yes match. And those are the toughest to deal with because I have to let my client down. But I want to back up because, as you can see, with all 4 types of those dates, the no-yes, yes-no, no-no, yes-yes, 3 of those have rejection in them for somebody. Even if nobody cares about the no being rejected because they felt the same way, it's still rejection. You get to hear, I don't want to see him, but he didn't want to see me either. That's interesting. And in that type of match where my client was excited about seeing this person again, but the match did not want to see my client again, I have to address that. And hopefully in some of the feedback I received from him, there's something constructive I can pass along. If you don't have a matchmaker of your own, then you're not going to get that. Hopefully you're insightful and you'll pick up some things on this channel that you can look for that will give you some hints as to what he's thinking on the date. But for the most part, most of us are out there blind, just wondering why he's not calling, etc. So in this situation, I have to let her down easily, and that's why during that welcome meeting, I ask how she deals with rejection, because I need to find out whether I can be completely honest with her and tell her what he said in a gentle way still, of course. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, or if I really need to sugarcoat it for her. And most people will say they want the unbridled truth. They just want to know, and hopefully there is something constructive there that I can pass along. But I like to point out, and this is the reason we are here, that when somebody does decide that they don't want to see you again, it truly has so much more to do with them than it has to do with you. And the way I look at it is, it could be something so simple as he doesn't like girls who wear turtlenecks. He thinks that that means that they're all bottled up. I have had dates where the person reminded them of their sister or their aunt, or there's something that reminds them of an old girlfriend. So how can you fix that, right? You can't. It's just a question of someone's past experience that led them here to this date where they're meeting you. And quite often, even if you know the reason that they decided they didn't want to date you, it wouldn't even be helpful. I hear that feedback all the time, and it's really so often useless to even pass on because it has nothing to do with my client. You would never want that feedback to influence you as to how you move forward dating other people if it really is more dependent upon that other person and their life experiences to that point. I had a date myself once. He was a successful fella, probably had quite a few relationships. He was a pro athlete in his past, so I know that he's met some women in his day. And when I told him, and this is actually how I like you to tell people that you don't want to see them again, he called to ask me out for like the third or fourth date, and I said, oh, that's really nice of you, but I want to be honest with you. I just don't think this is going to be the romantic connection that we were both hoping for. And he asked me if it was something he did, and I said, no, not at all. I didn't want to go further than that, really. Not being the romantic connection we were hoping for is probably good enough. And he pressed me a little bit, and he said, is there anything I could have done differently? And that confused me quite a bit, because how much could I really know him after a few dates? And why, even if he really liked me, why would he want to change something about himself for somebody who's only just getting to know who he is? I was thinking, and I said to him actually, why would you change for somebody who's saying they don't want to be with you? What if you did change something for me and it didn't work out between us, and now you have adjusted to being this new way and you're back out in the dating world and you're wrong for the next person you meet? I believe you have to be true to yourself. I think before you even get out there dating, you have to know who you are. And then you really can't let rejection hurt you, because it truly is so much more about the other person, because how much really can they know about you after an hour and a half or 2 hours of conversation with you? This is specifically for a first date, but even 6 hours after a few dates, how much do they truly know who you are? They're inferring so much at that point that for you to be brokenhearted or want to change something about yourself or your approach to dating is kind of ludicrous, because you really just need to find somebody who you're going to click with and who sees you for who you are right away. And if not right away, at least on that second or third date, as you both get more comfortable, there starts to be some nice chemistry going back and forth, that you're on the same plane, communicating well, and finding some common interests and commonalities to the way you think. So for this video, I'll wrap this up and just say, don't worry about rejection. Just be yourself and let things fall where they will, because there's always somebody else out there, and you just got to be you. You're not going to change, especially if you look like somebody's sister. What are you going to do? Dye your hair for this guy? Anyway, I appreciate you stopping by to see what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you will subscribe to my channel, hit the ring bell button so that you're notified every time that I upload a new video, and I will look forward to seeing you the next time. Thanks again. Have a good one.